This book explains why the rich get richer and why schools don't teach you how money actually works. It reveals why a high income, believe it or not, often isn't enough to build wealth. It all comes down to financial education. All right, let's dive in. So the entire book is built on this one really powerful idea. The author, Robert Kiyosaki, he argues that our school system, it trains us to be good employees, but not to be rich. Think about it. We learn to work hard for a paycheck, but we're never, ever taught the skills to make our money work hard for us. And that is the fundamental gap, the very thing that keeps most people from achieving real financial freedom. All right, so Kiyosaki's whole financial education came from two very different father figures. You've got his own father, who he calls his poor dad, a super educated government employee who, despite a good salary, was always struggling with money. And then, on the other hand, there's his best friend's father, his rich dad. This guy was an 8th grade dropout who ended up building a business empire and became one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. The difference is just staggering. And this right here, this captures the core mindset difference perfectly. Poor dad saw money as the source of all problems, which leads to a really closed-off way of thinking. He'd say, I can't afford it, and that just shuts your brain down. End of story. But rich dad, he saw the lack of money as the problem. He would ask, how can I afford it? See the difference? That question forces your brain to start working, to find solutions. This tiny shift from I can't to how can I is the absolute foundation of a wealthy mindset. So how exactly did Rich Dad build his wealth? Well, he taught Kiyosaki that it all boils down to one simple foundational rule. I mean it. Mastering this single concept is what separates a life of financial struggle from a life of financial freedom. And here's the shocking part. Most people never learn this in school. First, you absolutely have to know what an asset is. And forget all the complicated accounting jargon. Rich Dad's definition is incredibly simple. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. Period. Think of things like rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, royalties from a book, or a business that runs without you. It's basically a money-making machine. And on the flip side, you have a liability. And again, it's simple. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. This is your mortgage payment, your car loan, your credit card debt, your subscriptions. All these things constantly drain your cash flow. The key is knowing which is which, because trust me, so many people get this dangerously wrong. And this table illustrates the difference perfectly. Look at the poor and middle class. They get income from a job, and it immediately goes to pay for expenses and liabilities. Their money flows out just as fast as it comes in. Now look at the rich. They use their income to buy assets first. Then those assets generate more income, which then pays for their expenses. Their money is working for them, creating a cycle of ever-increasing wealth. It's a completely different game. And this leads to one of the most crucial points in the entire book. Your primary residence, yep, the house you live in, is not an asset. It's a liability. It takes money out of your pocket every single month for the mortgage, taxes, and maintenance. The same goes for the car you drive. The wealthy understand this distinction. They spend their money on things that will pay them back. This brings us to a concept Kiyosaki famously calls the rat race, that endless cycle of working for money just to pay the bills. But it's not just a financial trap, it's an emotional one, and it's driven by two very powerful forces. Okay, so here's how it works. The fear of not having money makes you go out and get a job. But then, once you get that paycheck, desire kicks in, and you start thinking about all the nice things you can buy. So you increase your spending, you buy liabilities like a bigger house or a new car. What happens next? Your expenses are higher, so you need more money, which just reinforces your need for that job. The trap is officially set. This loop of fear and desire is what keeps people running on a hamster wheel their entire lives. Look, escaping the rat race isn't about earning more money. It's about breaking this emotional cycle. Most people let fear and desire control their thinking. But the rich, they learn to use these emotions in their favor, not against themselves. Instead of reacting emotionally, they learn to delay gratification and use their emotions as motivation to think, learn, and find ways to acquire assets. So how do you actually do that? Well, the solution is to actively increase your financial intelligence, or what the book calls your financial IQ. This is the practical skill set you absolutely need to build wealth, and it's built on 4 key pillars. So, Rich Dad taught that financial intelligence rests on 4 pillars. First, accounting. Basically, the ability to read and understand financial numbers. You have to know what you're looking at. Second, investing. The science of money making more money. Third, understanding markets. This is all about supply and demand, spotting trends. And fourth, The law. This means understanding tax advantages and corporate protections to legally keep more of your money. And speaking of the law, this brings us to one of the biggest secrets that separates the wealthy from literally everyone else. It's not about illegal tax evasion. It's about understanding and using the financial system the way it was designed to be used. All right, this right here is a complete game changer. As an employee, it's simple. You earn money, the government immediately takes its cut in taxes, and then you get to spend what's left. But when you own a corporation, the sequence flips. The business earns money, then it spends money on legitimate business expenses, things like a car, travel, meals, and then it pays taxes on whatever profit is left over. The rich legally pay for a portion of their lifestyle with pre-tax dollars. It's a huge, huge advantage. Okay, this all sounds great, but you're probably thinking, where do I even start? Well, you don't have to quit your job or become a real estate mogul overnight. The journey really begins with just a few simple, powerful habits that you can start building today. All right, here are your first steps. Number 1, mind your own business. That means focus on building your asset column, not just getting a bigger salary. Number 2, know the difference. Seriously, sit down and list out your assets and your liabilities. Be honest with yourself. 3, start reducing those liabilities. Focus on paying down the debt that's costing you money. 4, acquire assets. Every time you have extra income, use it to buy things that will make you more money. And finally, number 5, learn every single day. Dedicate some time to increasing your financial literacy. At the end of the day, remember this. Building wealth is a mindset game first and a math problem second. It all starts with education and with making the decision to play the money game by a different set of rules. Subscribe for more 7-minute book recaps that teach money, mindset, and wealth building.